live. If you are joining for the first time, then you can ask questions whenever you want. If you're watching on one of my platforms, like Facebook or YouTube, then you need to go here so you can see all the others, because there are loads more of these that go on during the week. And yeah, today is going to be about, can a virus be good? Just going to say hi to some of the... Oh, so many people coming back. Hi, Jeff, Jasmine, Japan Maple's back, Kieran's back, Angel's back, Leonard, Jeff, Kieran. You guys are all chatting. You're chatting so much. Hey, what were you guys talking about? You guys talking about what's going on in Australia with coronavirus? I hear that people are going back to Australia a little bit. They're going back to school in Australia a little bit. Next week, maybe like 1 day a week. Anyway, hi everyone, thanks so much for coming. This is the Name High Live, so this one's going to be about, can a virus be a good thing? And I've just kind of started with a totally blank slate because, actually, firstly, do you guys think a virus can be a good thing? And secondly, I was going to ask this question, which is just like a kind of numbers question, which is this. How many bacteria do you release? Do you shed? Do you release from your skin into the air every day? What do you guys reckon? How many bacteria approximately do you reckon you just release? You just cast off into the world around you every day? From your skin into the air every day. What do you guys reckon? I'm just going to put that up there to start. Oh dear, I've never seen that feature before. Whatever's. How many bacteria do you reckon you guys release from your skin into the air every single day? And I know that this area is quite empty, so I thought I'd just draw like some skin bacteria flaking off someone. So if this is your body, there you go, you can have some flat feet. Oh, I am not even going to try and draw this person well. They're going to look disgraceful. Anyway, they're releasing these bacteria. How many do you reckon they release every single day? Whoa, Atticus Pawson is saying, there's not comments in there, for saying 4 billion. Angel's saying millions. Jasmine's saying 9 million. Rebecca's saying 16 million. And Angel is saying just one. Just one would be so good. One big bacteria. Every day you release into the air about 10 million bacteria from your skin. 10 million. And you scatter them all around you. And so a lot of people kind of talk about this, and they're like, well, is there even any point in washing your hands or like trying to keep places hygienic if every single human that's in an area will release 10 million bacteria a day? Why do you think it might still be good to wash your hands and remain hygienic even if everyone's releasing 10 million bacteria every single day? What do you reckon? AJ says billions. Jay, Atticus, and AJ, and you guys watching on Facebook, you won't be able to see what the other people are chatting about. So in future, do watch it here, because you'll be able to see the whole chat, so you can see what the rest of the conversation is. And here you'll also see the timetable of what's coming up. In fact, anyone joining late, this is a Name High Live, so ask questions whenever you want. I'm going to be talking about, can a virus be a good thing? And first asked, how many bacteria do you release from your skin into the air every day? And the answer is 10 million. So now I'm asking, why is it still important to wash your hands? Even so. Okay, so Japan Mail is saying lots of good bacteria, and that's good. And Jeff is saying because you don't touch your face with the rest of your body. Well, good, some people. And Jasmine is saying to get bacteria off that's not good. Okay, AJ is saying not all bacteria is viral. Okay, so AJ, bacteria and viruses are actually totally different things. In fact, a virus can infect a bacteria. And I'll just really quickly summarize what this is. Like, a bacteria is a little living cell that swims around and causes infections and is completely alive in the same way that our living cells are alive. Swims around, feeds off the inside of a human, replicates itself, grows, builds a colony, and so on. Whereas a virus, it's really questionable whether a virus is even alive or not. A virus is just like a little particle full of genetic information that just lands on a living thing, and it can even land on a bacteria and infect the bacteria, injects its information and just tells the bacteria, make more of me. And so the virus literally just makes loads of itself using other things. It's difficult to say whether that's actually alive or not. And so Leonard says, yeah, a virus is not alive. That's the main conclusion that most people reach, is that a virus is not alive. That's my feeling on it as well, and that's feeling of most scientists, but some scientists do argue that you should call them alive. But anyway, but yes, so the reason why it's still important to wash your hands and be hygienic is because often the kind of bacteria that you're shedding from your skin are not necessarily that dangerous, and often the really dangerous bacteria are the ones that can't spread so easily, and so you pick them up in other forms. Right, okay, so hand washing. Wait, let me just go down here. I feel like I had a... Oh, this is a dinosaur soap that I found on the internet. Yeah, can anyone think of... someone? I was talking to someone yesterday about COVID, and we were talking about what are some of the positives that we can draw from the kind of disaster that's unfolding around us. And one of the positives that we were talking about is to do with the fact that people are washing their hands a lot more and remaining away from one another. What positive consequence might it have on the world that people are washing their hands more? So apart from COVID, why is it good that everyone is washing their hands more? What do you think? In brackets, using dinosaur soap. Especially using dinosaur soap. Okay, Max is saying soap business equals stonks. So Kieran's saying fewer flu transmissions. Japan was saying, where can I get dinosaur soap? Mate, I don't know. And Jay made a really interesting comment about how viruses can be used to treat cancers potentially by invading cancer cells and destroying them, and that is something that people are looking into. Okay, so yeah, people are talking about more soap means fewer transmissions of disease, and fewer people making the piano dirty, and wait, what else have we got? Leonard saying it removes viruses, and okay, so on. Okay, right. So the thing I'm thinking about is that, you know, a huge amount of time goes into trying to eradicate diseases entirely, because if you decide to like treat a disease and you try and wipe out a lot of it, then it'll almost always come back. However, if you can literally find every single case of a disease in the entire world and wipe it out, then you can completely eradicate the disease forever. And so can anyone think of any good examples of diseases that we think have been eradicated forever? What do you think? And yeah, so like, which diseases are gone forever? What do you guys reckon? And just quickly, for anyone who's late, before we go into like the proper like kind of virus be good, thanks for coming. This is an Aim High Live, so you can ask questions whenever you want. If you're watching on Facebook, then you'll only get a slither of the comments that are coming through, so go here if you want to see all the comments of what people are saying. And if you're watching on my YouTube, then check out here so you can see the schedule too. And yeah, here we go. Yeah, kind of virus be good. At the moment, we're just talking a little bit about COVID and dinosaur soap, and diseases that have been wiped out. So yes, everyone is saying smallpox, as a smallpox being wiped out. Jeff has just mentioned Spanish flu. I heard something really interesting about Spanish flu. So the Spanish flu developed in Spain was the idea, and this was during. I think this was during World War One. That Spanish flu was announced in Spain, and it was all over the papers, and it was spreading very quickly, and lots of people were getting infected and suffering very badly, and lots of people dying as well. It's called Spanish flu because the Spanish were talking about it. But a lot of more recent investigations have looked back and thought actually probably didn't come from Spain. It was because it was equally present in the UK and in France and in Germany and everywhere else. It's just those countries were at war with one another, and so nobody talked about it. It was not in the media because they didn't want to make the country look weak and for the enemy to think that they had an advantage. And so, but Spain was neutral at the time, and so Spain talked about having this flu, and so it was called the Spanish flu. But no, it's not actually really Spanish at all. No, I'm not sure if we know exactly where it came from. Anyway, yes, so eradicating diseases. So smallpox is one of the ones that we've managed to wipe out. Polio, I think we've got really, really close to polio and been, because I know that Bill Gates is on a mission to wipe out polio, and it keeps getting to these like amazing, ridiculous points where there's like 2 or 3 more known cases in the world, and it's in a war zone, and they can't get to the people to cure them and give the vaccines where they need to go. And so I think we're close to eradicating polio, but we're still not there. And in fact, SPGS, it's just said rinderpest. Yeah, that's yeah, spot on. Rinderpest is the other example I was thinking about of something that we've apparently eradicated, although we thought we'd eradicated it 10 years ago, and actually now there seem to be more cases of rinderpest, so even that might be coming back. But yes, okay, I need to move on and talk about Can a Virus Be Good? But just to conclude on the dinosaur soap thing, if more people wash their hands, then it's possible that some diseases could eradicate themselves during this epidemic, because they may not be able to spread at all, and they may just disappear as a side effect of also people trying to get rid of COVID. It's entirely possible that COVID could also wipe out a load of other diseases, albeit they may be less worrying and dangerous ones. Right, okay. So here we go. Your body sheds 10 million bacteria a day, but here is the world. So let me just move it that way. Right. Around the world, this is unbelievable, right? I when I found this out, I was like, how could this be true? Okay, so above the Earth is a kind of stream or like a cloud that circles around the Earth that contains viruses. Now, nobody knows exactly how many viruses there are up there, but there are so many viruses that every single square meter of the planet, so every single square meter of the planet has how many viruses falling on it? Let's say each day. How many viruses fall down on each square meter each day? In fact, no, it's not each day. I've got it wrong. It's each second. How many viruses fall down on each square meter of land each second? And in fact, I kind of want to double check this so I've not got it wrong for you guys. Oh no, okay, I've got the figure for each day. It is each day. How many viruses fall down on each square meter each day? Okay, so Jeff's saying 100,000, Rebecca's saying 50 million. Max is saying, I stand by my answer of 1 trillion. Okay, every single day, 800 million viruses hit every square meter of the planet. Every single day. So this is 1 meter squared. Every single day, 800 million viruses hit every single square meter of the planet, having fallen down from this cloud of viruses up in the sky. And this is completely true. Now, most of these... Okay, question. Where do you guys think these viruses come from? Where do they come from? I'm just going to write a little box. How do I get my box? So 800 million viruses hit each square meter of the Earth every single day. Where do they come from? Um, okay, so Angel's saying us breathing. Um, and Miz is saying, are they 800 million different ones? Yeah, they'll mostly be different viruses. Very unknown person is saying lions, which is like aliens, but the cool version. And Jasmine is saying animals. Jacinta's saying, are they dead? Okay, so replying to Jacinta, viruses we don't really think of as dead or alive. Viruses are just, as I said at the beginning, a virus is just a little package of genetic information that just sticks to an actual living cell, injects its living information, and just tells the cell to start making more of itself. So viruses are basically it's actually really depressing if you think about what a virus is because they're so destructive. But literally all they are is like a piece of information that says make more of me for no reason, and they just force other cells to make more of themselves. And viruses basically also come from us. You know, they come from living cells where some process at some stage has gone wrong and told the cell to make something which is something that makes more of itself. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's madness. And Angel saying, do we actually know that many viruses? Yep. This is a nice firm number, 800 million viruses per day in each square meter. And Jemai is saying, I need to stop licking the ground. Yeah, mate, stop licking it. And Kieran's saying maybe ancient aliens. No, okay, so the main places where they come from is they get thrown up in the ocean spray because the ocean is full of living things and the ocean is full of viruses, and living things generate their own viruses, be it by mistake or because they're infected and then the virus tells them to create way more of them. So a virus is, as I said, it's like a code instructing things to make more of itself. And so when they get in the ocean, if they get in contact with the right living things, then they'll make loads more of themselves. And so yes, if you have so the ocean spray will fire up loads and loads of viruses into the sky. Speaking of which, okay, I'm going to keep talking about all these viruses in the air around us. But before I do, I just wanted to talk about this sneezing person down here, because I know that this is something that I've been kind of a bit worried about, like going to the supermarket. And I reckon all of you guys know this, but just to make doubly sure, do you guys know how COVID spreads? Like, what is the main way that you could get it from another person? If you're like completely isolated, you're not really coming into contact with other people, but then you go out and you kind of go near to where other people are. What's the main way that you can get it? And I think everyone's pretty up to speed on this, but I just want to make sure. Because it's something really weird, isn't it? Like, so there's a disease called cholera, and back when cholera was around, and it still exists, but not anywhere near as much. But back when cholera was infecting London, everyone just thought it was kind of like this weird black magic, and it would just appear somewhere, and there was no way of tracking down where it came from until some scientists actually decided to study, like, where are all the cases, find them all, put them all on a map in a big room, and they were like case, and they realized that all the cases centered around this one infected drinking fountain, and that was right in the middle of all of them. Went to see it, investigated it, found that it had all the cholera bacteria inside it, and then cut off the drinking fountain. And that was one of the big ways that this kind of ideas about bacteria and being hygienic came about. Anyway, yes, so cholera. People are saying, Kieran's saying droplets from your mouth, lungs, droplets on surface. Okay, good. You're all knowing droplets. It's just because there was someone in the supermarket the other day who came up quite close to me, was just speaking quite loudly in front of me, and I was thinking, mate, those are going to be droplets coming out of your mouth and spraying towards me, and I was just backing away. And she was being really friendly, but I was just like, whoa, whoa. Anyway, okay, so let's go back to all these viruses. So the viruses, 800 million falling on every square meter per day. So that means that in the ocean, so the ocean, as well as you know, is full of life. It's full of bacteria. How many? I know I'm asking you to guess a lot of numbers here, and they're all really big numbers. But how many viral infections do you think are caused in the ocean every day by these viruses falling from the sky? How many viral infections are caused each day? Leonard's asking what is cholera, so I'll quickly explain that, and also just say just one last time for anyone who's really late. This is Aim High Live, so yeah, we're talking about can a virus be a good thing, and we're talking about like viruses in the sky, and you can ask questions whenever you want. Yeah, okay. So Leonard, what's cholera? Cholera is a really horrible bacterial disease that causes like diarrhea and vomiting, and it's really nasty. And there's another disease that's quite like it called Campylobacter that I got when I was a kid because of my friend. My friend just like, we had this great system for getting water from the river, boiling it, and then we'd drink it later. And he like took one of the anyway. We're really good friends still, obvi. But he also got Campylobacter, which is like cholera, and we both had a terrible time. All's well ends well. Anyway, okay, so. Also, you should check out his music. He's such a good musician. This friend of mine who gave me Campylobacter. If you go on SoundCloud, sorry, this is not related to science, but you should check this out. It's called Sambassador Music. And his SoundCloud is amazing. So I would recommend everyone checks that out. But anyway, right. Move it. Just a little plug for Sam. His music is so good, and he did give me a cholera-like disease. So anyway, I'll just remove that again. Right. In fact, no, I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it there. Right. Okay. So the number of diseases, the number of infections that are caused every single day because of viruses. So 300 billion. That's the only number that anyone's really guessed. It is just pointlessly big, isn't it? Yeah, wait, Leonard's saying don't do that. What are we saying? Don't delete it. Okay, I've not deleted it. I'm not going to promote my own music. Oh, well, you can check out my music if you want. Mine is called Ashlad, and if you search it on Spotify or whatever's, my music is called Ashlad. Anyway. Let's focus on the science the science that we're doing. Right. So all of these viruses streaming around the Earth, they cause a trillion infections every single day in the ocean. A trillion. Oh my God, I'm mixing up days and seconds. It's a trillion infections every second. So a trillion, which is a 1 with 24 zeros after it. 6, 9, yeah, 1 with 24 zeros after it, and that's how many infections there are per second because of these viruses falling into the ocean. Trillion infections per second. Now this means that every single day, 20% of all the bacteria in the ocean are killed. 20% every day die of the bacteria in the ocean. Now, why do you think this might be a good thing? 20% of bacteria die daily because of these viruses falling from the sky. Why would this be a good thing? Very unknown person saying it's not ever going to the sea again. But very unknown person, I know that there are obviously a lot of viruses falling from the sky, but they're falling everywhere. But the thing is that we only really need to worry about the ones that are tuned to us. And the thing is, if loads of humans lived in the sea, then these humans in the sea would be shedding loads of viruses every day. And those viruses we were shedding would get into the sea, and then the sea would spray them up into the atmosphere, and then they'd be more likely to rain down on us. But actually, that is one of the advantages of living on the land, is that the viruses that are shedded by people on the land are much more likely to never get back into the air. But also, if you go into the sea, it's not going to be full of viruses that can infect humans. In general, a virus is tuned to a specific living thing, and it can only infect one living thing. That's why it's very unusual that a virus jumps the species gap. So if you're hanging out with a cow that's got a really bad virus, fine, you don't need to worry. What you do need to worry about is if you've got a billion, if you're running a country and you've got a billion citizens hanging out with a billion cows and all of the cows are ill, then one of those cows might transfer the disease to one of your citizens, and that then is a problem. Yeah, you don't need to worry too much about hanging out with ill animals, because diseases don't really jump very often at all between different species, and that's why it's so sad to hear about the people in I heard about people in South America killing loads of bats because they thought that would help with COVID, and it's just like, no, that does not help at all. And Jemima's saying, are viruses less dense than water? I don't actually know the answer to that, but what I do know is that they're so small that they can be contained in droplets that can then be swept up into the high atmosphere. The high atmosphere is full of loads of stuff. It's not just viruses that are up here. Did you know that if you, at the center of many snowflakes, is a bacteria? A lot of snowflakes begin by forming around a bacteria. So the very center of many snowflakes is a bacteria. Angel wants society where humans hang out with cows all the time. That would be nice. Right. Okay. So let's crack on. So why? I was kind of asking why would it be a good thing? In fact, yeah, I want to look back on this. Why would it be? Angel's asking, how do you spell my name on Spotify? It's just like this, Ashlad, in the bottom, 2 words. And okay, so I was asking why it could be a good thing that viruses spray down on the ocean and cause all these infections. And some people are saying that it could infect fish. And Japan people are saying it keeps their numbers down. And Kieran is saying it's to do with healthy ecosystems. Everything in nature works for a reason. So yeah, it's to do with this idea that like things are in balance. Like nature is in balance as it as it is in general, unless sudden changes happen, like climate change, which causes nature to go out of balance, and then chaos starts to occur. But these things are happening for a reason, and so the trillions of infections happening per second and killing off loads of bacteria are actually helping these bacteria to evolve and develop, which then helps life to evolve and develop. And so this is kind of the core idea of, can a virus be a good thing, is that viruses are so essential to our world. They're essential for kind of controlling and modulating populations. And what I mean by that is that they can cause certain mutations to happen. They can accelerate evolution. This is going to sound quite kind of worrying maybe, but something that realistically viruses do is they when a population of a certain species gets very, very high, then just because of probability, a virus is more likely to catch on that could kill loads of the population, thereby bringing the population down and maybe back into balance with nature. Now, that's something that we look at with humans and we're like, well, this is really scary because we have this amazing civilization with all these human beings, and there's always a conversation going on about like, oh, it's really worrying that we have a high population because that is kind of responsible for a lot of the damage that's being caused. And this is a conversation that is like really complex and full of kind of arguments and counter arguments and things like that. It's very easy to say, oh, viruses are good because they'll wipe out loads of the population and high population is bad, but it's not necessarily the case that a high human population is bad if a human population knows how to properly look after and be a proper steward of nature. And conversations about the population being too high have been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, even when the population wasn't too high. And so I'm not going to go into that now because that's like a whole thing of another live. And there are lots of arguments for why human population should be curved and dipped down, and that it would be a really good thing for nature if human population was reduced. But then there are other reasons why it could be advantageous for human population to go up, even in terms of life. Maybe a higher human population means that it'll be easier for humans to leave this planet and give this planet more of a break. And anyway, it's a big topic. I'm not going to talk about that now. Instead, I want to talk to you about other things that the viruses could do that we can talk of as being good. Leonard is saying class ruined. Sorry if you talk about that. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to switch across to this worm. Who knows what this worm is and what the significance of this worm is? Um, Name the worm. Who dis? The worm is cute. It's a friend. Okay, the worm's name is Robert. It's a flatworm. It's a funny worm. Okay, right. The worm is called a Planaria worm. Um, and this worm is a pretty cool worm and in fact, I'm going to go into this in another live in much more detail. But basically, this worm is quite interesting, and you can cut it at any point. So you can literally just cut a bit off the tail, and both bits of worm will regrow fully into a new worm. Now, if you give this worm certain memories, so if you teach it, and obviously for a worm memories are different, but if you teach it like areas with lots of light in them will have lots of food in them, which is something you can teach worms like this, and they'll consistently move towards areas with more light. And then if you then cut the worm in half and you just take each half of the worm and you allow them both to regrow, or you cut it into loads of pieces and you regrow them all into worms, all of those new worms will have the same memory of like, okay, we need to go to the light to get food. And it kind of blew people's minds when they found out about this, until people started realizing that a lot of memory is to do with proteins. So a lot of memory is stored in proteins, and these proteins are copied from cell to cell in order to spread memories around the nervous system, around the body, by a mechanism that was created by an ancient virus. And so actually we think that a lot of our memory is down to an ancient viral infection. Now I'm going to talk about that all in a future live, about how we remember things and how we forget things, so look out for that one. But also just to say, like, for somewhere between 40 and 80% of all of our genes, we think could have possibly come, there's a little genome, we think could have come from viruses, somewhere between 40 and 80%, and we don't know exactly, but this is what I'm talking about. All these viruses in the sky swimming around the Earth, they could have this positive effect on life by kind of modulating it and evolving it and causing it to change in certain ways. And it's something that we're still looking into a lot. And another live that I did in the past was about how viruses can also be used to cure color blindness. If someone's colorblind, we have the technology to, although it's not legal to use it, but we have developed the technology to use viruses to temporarily cure color blindness. But again, I might repeat that live as well in the future. So look out for those two lives. One about people are calling out for a top hat on the worm. One about okay. One about keep a lookout for the lives about memories and how we form them and how we can maybe forget things on purpose, and also keep a lookout for the other live I might do again in the future about, if you didn't see it before, about how we can cure color blindness using viruses. For now, I just thought I'd give you this magic eye. I don't know how many of you can do magic eyes. They're these things that you look at cross-eyed and then a picture will jump out. Who can see what color, what shape there is inside the magic eye? So yeah, let me know what you think is here, and I'll just give you a few moments to work that out. But thanks so much for coming, everyone. We have got such a cool timetable coming up this week. So I'm excited to see you for the ones coming up. Shall I read you some titles? I'll read you some titles. Wait a sec. I'm just gonna go off here because I don't know where this will come up. Okay, wait, let me go back to the things that you can keep doing the magic eye. Titles coming up this week. So tomorrow there's why J.K. Rowling didn't write Harry Potter, which sounds kind of controversial. Who will be underwater in 100 years? Hannah's doing that one. Nish is doing Is Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder. Oh no, he's not doing Is Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder. I think he's doing... Oh, he is Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder. And then the next day he's doing Which Conspiracy Theories Should You Believe? And the ones that I'm doing later in the week are what are cryptocurrencies and why they are the future. And if you could choose, would it make sense to choose to be female or male? Which is obviously like a really big topic, but I'm going to talk to you about that on Thursday. Anyway, check out the calendar for what's coming up in the future, which is down below, although you can't actually read it. So let's write it out again there. And let me know. I'm keen to know what you guys think is written in here. Wait, I'll write it here. Yeah, go to this website if this is your first time and you're trying to find the calendar. It is just aimhigh.co, and sign up to follow us on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or wherever you want to get notifications from, or just join the mailing list on there, and we'll just send you the timetable every week. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way. Just go on there and join the mailing list so that we can send you what's on each week. So thanks so much for coming. If you couldn't see what was in here, then you just need to cross your eyes and look at it. It is in fact a shark. It's a 3D shark, and it springs out in front of you if you look in the right way. And it's kind of, if you're trying to find it, it's about this big. And it will pop out if you just look at it in the right way. But yeah, maybe you can watch back when this is reposted if you want to try and find it. Thanks for coming. See you all later in the week. Farewell. Bye bye.